So we're finally going to start working on the pantry, which this used to be the downstairs bathroom. Before it was a bathroom, it was a porch. They boxed it in and made this a bathroom because this house was built with no bathrooms. It was built in like 1905 is the earliest date we found. So obviously there was no bathrooms, and this used to be a porch, and they boxed it in and created a bathroom. We're in our entryway, like foyer, stairway, whatever you want to call it. This was never supposed to be here. So this used to be just a wall, and whenever they made this the bathroom, they knocked this wall out and made this the entryway into the bathroom. And then this is the master bedroom. We just have tons of stuff in here right now. We moved everything out of here into there. So right now it houses all of my pantry stuff and then all of our bathroom stuff. So it is a mess, but this is going to be the master bedroom someday. And that's why this door is here. But we're thinking we're going to board up both of these doorways, and that way I can have quite a bit more space in here in the pantry. Because if we leave a door, then I'm going to be losing quite a bit of wall space. So there's the entryway, and right there would be the dining room. And then starting right here, this is all the kitchen wall. And then this right here, past that, is where the pantry is. And then this opening right here on the other side of this wall is where the cellar is. So we are going to cut out a doorway right here, which we rebuilt this wall and put up this lap siding, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to use this lap siding just because we did not get enough to do these doorways, and now we're going to box them up because we were going to use this as a bathroom like they did, but it's just too small and I need a bigger pantry. So we're going to be moving the bathroom and using this as a pantry. I talked about this a little bit before in one of my previous videos. It'll be easier to see once we get this cut out, but right there on the other side of this wall, there's a big hole in the floor, and we have to build a hatch door for it so we can access the cellar still. And then behind in this little corner on the other side of this wall is where we're going to put our cleaning supplies and stuff. So since we're closing up both doorways in here and making a new one right here, we're going to be knocking down the back of the pantry wall that is in our current kitchen. And it's going to create an entryway. So it's going to be like a little L that you make. But that's the only way that we can still keep our corner pantry as well as some of the shelving in there. So it's all going to work and come together. It'll just take time. I know this is probably so confusing, but once we get started, it'll all start to make sense because I can't really show you much with the walls still up. So that's just kind of confusing. But all of this floor we're going to take out. It is the original floor from the porch, the majority, but they had a lot of leaks. So this is all replaced. You can see the cutout. Like this has all been replaced, and it's just very like wavy. So I have my bathroom tile that I bought. It was going to be for the bathroom in here. So instead of just letting it go to waste, because I didn't buy enough to do a bigger bathroom, and I'm pretty sure they do not sell the same exact anymore. The tile that I bought is shiny, but now they only offer matte. I have some ideas of what I want, and I'm thinking that I just want like a basic sort of table. So it'll be like very, very simple. Like it'll just have a wood top and then like legs. So there's gonna be no bottom or structure to it really. It's just gonna be like legs and then a top, and then I'm gonna put a curtain, and I just need that space so that I can store all my 5-gallon buckets and stuff underneath. So I don't think there's gonna be shelves under there or anything like that, just because I need this pantry to be very versatile and work for me, because I never know what I'm gonna have. And so our biggest dilemma right now is what kind of shelving we're going to use, because the only thing that I've ever really seen that is movable and adjustable is the wire shelving, and I do not like it. I know you can get a wooden shelf for the actual piece that goes on the wall, like it's a strip that runs right here, and then you get the brackets and you can just set wood on top of it. But I still just don't think it would look the best, but we may end up having to go with something like that because I need my shelves to be very movable. I plan on storing a lot of my canned food in here because we are not sure how the cellar is going to play out yet. And I am not putting all my canned food down in there at first just because of the moisture. So we're putting in a sump pump down there, and we're going to give it time and see how it does, because moisture is the worst enemy of those jars and stuff. It'll rust the lids out, and then you risk getting the rust in your food and everything like that. It just is not a good thing. So we're gonna see how it does before I put my canned food down there. And I'm gonna start with some cold crops and just store down there and see how they do. This way the floor is 7 foot 9 inches, and then from here to here it's only 6 foot 10 inches. And so it's a little bit smaller than I thought, but 6 foot 10 inches this way. And then the ceiling is 7 foot 10 inches. So we still have a lot of room to work with, and I'm excited to see what we can do in here to just optimize the storage space in here, honestly, and just make it functional and work for like our canning and home preserving, stuff like that. So this is on Pinterest. I do not own this picture, and hopefully it is clear enough for you guys to see, but this is the kind of tabletop that I'm talking about, and then just doing a curtain under, and all of this would be open space, and I could just store my 5-gallon buckets, my larger appliances, things like that under there. Of course, I would need way more storage up here, like shelving, but that is the idea that I'm going for on the Here's bottom. Like something, ours won't look like this. Of course, it'll be like more like farmhousey, like vintage farmhouse, but this bottom is kind of like how it'll look just because our pantry is so narrow. So I am envisioning it having a very small opening here, and then it'll be a lot of canned food storage up on these walls. So we will see if I can make it work, because these shelves obviously aren't movable and I would need more, but I do know it's a small space, but I want to optimize the storage. And then here is just a picture of like some shelving with canned food on it, and how these are double stacked. I do not like double stacking my food. I know they say it's okay, and I'll do it whenever I have to, but I don't prefer it. So I would much rather just make this into 2 shelves and each of them have their own space. And I do like these shelves, but they're just not movable. So that is the only issue that I have with this. And I would want to be able to move the shelf so I could do like quarts on this shelf instead of like pints, and vice versa, just because I never know what I'm going to be canning and what size jars I'm going to be using. And it just makes it hard, because I usually just use whatever jars I have open and available and that are empty and ready to be canned in. Ben is on his way home from work, and I thought I would go ahead and lay this out because I need to have an idea of what I want so that he knows about where to cut and everything like that. The countertops. So these are my 5-gallon buckets that I keep like food, stuff like that in. So I put this at a 20-inch countertop because I want to be able to set my appliances on the countertop in here and not have to lug them all the way out to the kitchen. Measure my dehydrator, and it's 17 inches deep. So this way on the countertop. And so I went ahead and did 20-inch countertops because I want to make sure that there's plenty of room for my buckets, which there is, because this right here marks the 20 inches. So there's actually, I could probably put another one right here, not directly in front, but in between. I'm probably going to have Ben build the countertops up so high so that I can double stack these under there, because I don't want the wasted space. So I want to make sure that I can fit 2 buckets on top of each other under there. But this is a lot smaller than what I was thinking it was going to be. So I'm not going to put a sink in here just because I know I'm going to need the extra space. And I have a sink in my kitchen. I'll have one in my mudroom. So I'm not going to waste the space by putting a sink in. And as far as this opening goes in the middle of the floor here, it is pretty small, but it's not like we're going to be doing activities in here or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to be canning or anything in here. All I'm going to be doing is just for storage. So it's going to be like just a basic big pantry, but I am going to be having a dehydrator running with some food in the summertime, probably just small appliances like that. But I think it's going to add a lot of storage for us and help us with our storage problem. And I did want to clarify that the cellar does not stay wet. So we have been checking on it regularly, and the only time that it stays wet down there is whenever it storms really, really bad. Like if we get at least an inch of rain, you'll start to see it start running out of the rock wall, and it's just groundwater running in, and it just trickles in. Like, it'll find a way. There is a slope in there, and we're going to put a sump pump in there and a dehumidifier down there also if I need to. But I'm hoping that I can store all my extra canners and a lot of stuff like that down there. But buckets like this that'll be like flour, stuff like that, they do need to be up here. And then the cellar will be for like our root vegetables that we want to keep for the year. Ended up taking down the lap siding just because we are going to have to build a header, and we wanted to go ahead and like frame it up correctly and just make sure it was done right. And the way that the lap siding was put on, there would have been like some sticking out right here, because the doorway is not going to be this big. It's going to be like 36 inches, and then we're going to frame it in. just the normal size of a door. We just decided to do it center of this wall. I'm not really sure why we talked about doing it here before, but I know we did. So we decided to go center. That way we could do countertops all the way around if I wanted, and we wouldn't be walking into it. So here is what it looks like, and that is the cellar bottom that I was talking about. Ben knocked the wall down there that he cut. We just now finished cutting out the doorway right here. So this is gonna be our doorway. We still have to cut this board off. It won't be there. We don't need it anymore. But we built a header out of it, and then this is gonna be our door. We still have to put the casing on and stuff. But other than that, that is just gonna be very simple. We're just gonna frame it out. There's not gonna be a door or anything like that. Doors right here, it's gonna be such a tight, small space that it's actually gonna complicate things. So we are taking this door out. That is just going to be a solid wall right there. But the cellar has been cleaned out, and we still have to build the trap door. We were trying to work on how to build it best. We're thinking it's going to hinge over there and pull from that way up. We're just trying to work on the logistics of the door right now, just because we want it to be as safe as it can, but as practical as it can. So we're going to have to work on it and figure that out, just because they've already pre-cut this and we cannot put back. And we could like close it over a little bit, but then we lose our stairway down, and it's already pretty narrow. So it would honestly probably have to stay as is, and we would just have to work from what they've already done. And we have tried to figure out what used to be the main entrance to this cellar, because this is obviously not it. You can tell that they just did this sometime just so that you wouldn't lose access to it. So I do not know how the main entrance was, because it runs underneath this where I'm standing, and then in the kitchen too. So all that is the kitchen, and it runs under there. But all signs of the cellar in the kitchen were already closed off by the time we got here, and this was the only opening here. But we wanted to build this doorway as wide as we could. So it's 36 inches. By the time it gets casing and stuff on, it'll probably be about 34.5. But this from the wall is 21.5 inches. So I have plenty of room to do my 20-inch countertops that I wanted. So we'll be able to do a horseshoe of countertops. So it'll run all the way around on this back wall and then around. So pretty much it's just going to be like you're walking in and it's an opening right here in the middle, which is ideal, and I think is going to be the best thing for this. But that is the little bit of progress we've made on the pantry so far. And like I've said, we are working on the garden fence simultaneously. So that is what Ben, he just finished this, and now he's outside working on the garden fence, and I'm going to go help him, and I need to mow. But that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys will like and subscribe.